Beauty is fleeting, but value is eternal. This is a truth often ignored by those who chase admiration rather than respect. When a man tells a woman, "You're pretty," he speaks to something that time will inevitably take away. He anchors his words in something shallow, something temporary, something she has heard 1,000 times before. And in doing so, he makes himself just another voice in the crowd, easily forgotten. A man of wisdom does not seek to impress with such trivial words. He understands that true attraction is not built on fleeting beauty, but on lasting value. If you must acknowledge a woman, let it be for something that transcends the surface. Instead of praising what nature has given her, recognize what she has cultivated: her intellect, her ambition, her discipline, her resilience. These are things that do not fade with time. They are the marks of a person who is more than just appearance, and when you acknowledge them, you show that you too are more than just another admirer. But beyond what you say to her, there is something even more important: what you embody yourself. If you are the kind of man who fixates on beauty, who sees a woman's worth in how she looks, then you reveal something about yourself. You have not yet learned to value what truly matters. A man who is drawn only to the surface is a man who has not yet developed depth within himself. If you want to command desire, then first you must be worthy of it. You must cultivate qualities that make you valuable, not just to others, but to yourself. Discipline, wisdom, resilience, purpose. These are the things that set men apart. A man who has mastered himself, who does not waver in the face of hardship, who carries himself with quiet confidence, does not need to rely on empty flattery. His presence alone is enough. When he speaks, it is with weight. When he moves, it is with intention. Such a man does not chase admiration because he does not need it. And paradoxically, it is this very lack of neediness that makes him most desirable. Consider the difference between two men. One sees a woman and rushes to tell her she is beautiful, hoping to win favor, to be noticed, to be liked. The other sees the same woman and does not seek to impress her at all. He does not offer hollow compliments. Instead, he is composed, focused on his own path, engaged in something greater than the pursuit of attention. And yet, it is the second man who is remembered, who intrigues, who commands respect. Why? Because he does not give away his approval so easily. He does not make himself small in an effort to be liked. He holds his value high, and in doing so, he forces others to rise to his level. This is the essence of value. When you cultivate it in yourself, you no longer need to seek approval from others. And once you no longer seek it, you naturally attract it. A man who has built himself into something worthy does not need to convince anyone of his worth. It is self-evident. It is in the way he speaks, the way he moves, the way he carries himself in every moment. So if you find yourself in a position where you feel the need to impress a woman with words, stop and ask yourself, am I saying this because it is true or because I want something in return? If your words are meant to elicit a reaction, to gain validation, to secure admiration, then they are empty. A true compliment, like true respect, is given without expectation. If you cannot offer it from a place of strength, it is better not to offer it at all. Instead, let your presence be enough. Let your actions, your purpose, and your discipline speak louder than words. Let her see, not just hear, that you are a man of substance, because at the end of the day, beauty will fade, looks will change, but value, the kind of value that comes from wisdom, strength, and self-mastery, that is eternal. And it is only by embodying that truth that you become not just someone she notices, but someone she truly desires. A man who knows his worth does not seek approval. He does not speak simply to be heard, nor does he offer words as a means of gaining favor. To constantly seek validation, whether through compliments or through the approval of others, is to place your sense of self in their hands. And what is given freely can just as easily be taken away. Too many men look outward for confirmation of their value. They wait for a woman's reaction to determine whether they are worthy. They measure their confidence by how others respond to them. This is a weakness. a fragile way to live because it places control of your emotions in the hands of those who owe you nothing. When a man tells a woman, "You're pretty," and waits for her reaction, what he is really doing is searching for validation. He is hoping for approval, for recognition, for a sign that he is accepted. But in doing so, he reveals that he is not yet complete on his own. He is looking for something external to fill an internal void. A man who is truly confident does not need this. He does not require constant reassurance because he has already built a foundation within himself. His value is not determined by others, it is something he carries within. When he speaks, it is not out of a need to be liked, but because he has something worth saying. When he moves, it is not to impress, but because he has a direction of his own. This kind of confidence is rare, and because it is rare, it is valuable. Women, like all people, are drawn to those who do not seek their approval. There is an unspoken power in a man who is completely at ease with himself, who does not feel the need to prove anything. He does not chase, and because he does not chase, he is naturally followed. His presence alone suggests that he is already complete, that he does not need external validation to feel whole, and this is what makes him desirable. Consider this. The moment you seek validation, you give power to the person from whom you seek it. If you depend on her reaction to determine your confidence, then she is in control of your emotions, not you. If she responds positively, you feel good. If she does not, you feel uncertain, maybe even insecure. And in that uncertainty, you reveal your weakness. You show that your sense of worth is dependent on something outside yourself. A man who understands this refuses to give away that power. He does not ask for approval, nor does he need it. This is not arrogance, it is self-assurance. It is knowing who you are and not needing someone else to confirm it. A man who carries himself with this mindset does not worry about impressing others, because he knows his value is not determined by their opinions. He is not cold or dismissive, but he is also not needy. He does not seek validation, so he is never controlled by it. Instead of offering empty words, he offers presence. He engages with the world from a place of inner strength, not from a need for recognition. He does not say, "You're pretty," hoping to be acknowledged. If he speaks, it is with purpose. If he compliments, it is genuine, not transactional. And when he does this, he stands apart from the countless others who are desperate to be noticed. The path to true confidence is not found in the approval of others. It is built through discipline, self-mastery, and an unwavering commitment to your own principles. A man who has built himself does not need validation, and because he does not need it, he naturally commands respect. His confidence is not something that wavers based on another person's response. It is a constant, something that exists independent of anyone else. This is the kind of confidence that cannot be faked. It is not about pretending to be indifferent or playing games. It is about truly understanding that your worth is not something that can be given or taken away by another person. It is something that comes from within, something unshakable. So when you find yourself in a moment where you feel the need to impress, to be liked, to gain approval, ask yourself why. If your confidence depends on how someone reacts to you, then you do not yet own it. But if you can move through the world without needing constant reassurance, if you can be content in your own presence without seeking validation, then you have already won. A man who understands the power of his words does not waste them. He does not speak simply to fill silence or to seek approval. Every word he utters carries weight because he knows that true influence comes not from how much he says, but from the intention behind what he says. To speak without purpose is to diminish the value of your voice. And a man who is careless with his words is a man who is easily ignored. Many men fall into the habit of giving away their words too freely. They think that by talking more, by showering a woman with compliments, by constantly engaging in conversation, they will somehow become more desirable. But the opposite is true. The more you speak without intention, the less impact your words have. If you constantly tell a woman how beautiful she is, your words become background noise. They lose meaning. blending into the countless other voices that have told her the same thing. She does not hear it as something special. It becomes routine, expected, even dull. A man of presence does not do this. He understands that his words are a reflection of his mind, his discipline, and his control. He does not speak simply to be noticed, nor does he seek to impress with shallow flattery. When he speaks, it is because he has something worth saying. He asks questions that make people think. He offers insights that challenge perspectives. And when he does choose to compliment, it is with precision and sincerity. This kind of speech is powerful because it is rare. People are accustomed to words being thrown at them without thought, to conversations that are filled with noise but no substance. When a man speaks with intention, he immediately stands apart. His voice carries authority because he does not waste it. Others listen because they know that when he speaks, it is worth listening to. Silence, too, is a tool that few know how to wield. Many men are uncomfortable with silence. They rush to fill it, fearing that a pause in conversation means a loss of interest or control. But a man who understands the power of reserved speech does not fear silence. He embraces it. He knows that silence can be more impactful than words, that it can create tension, curiosity, and intrigue. He is not in a hurry to impress, and because he is comfortable in silence, others begin to lean in to seek his words rather than simply receiving them. There is an art to holding back, to speaking only when necessary. When you do this, your words gain significance. When you finally say something, it lands with impact. People remember it because it was not diluted by meaningless chatter. Women too notice this. A man who does not constantly seek validation through words is intriguing. He does not lay all his thoughts out immediately. He does not try too hard to be liked. Instead, he allows mystery to build. And mystery, when combined with confidence, is a powerful force. Many men misunderstand this concept and assume that speaking less means being cold, uninterested, or unresponsive. But that is not the point. The point is to ensure that when you do speak, it is with purpose. It is about making your words matter, about not giving away your attention too easily. If a woman knows that your compliments are rare, that your words are not thrown around carelessly, she will value them more when they are given. This is true not just in attraction, but in all areas of life. A leader does not need to speak constantly to command respect. A man of discipline does not need to explain himself at every turn. It is the restraint, the ability to hold back when others give in to the urge to talk, that creates an aura of strength. When you are selective with your words, people listen more closely. So the next time you feel the need to impress with words, pause. Ask yourself whether what you are about to say carries weight, whether it serves a purpose beyond seeking approval. If it does not, it is better left unsaid. Let your presence do the work. Let your actions speak louder than compliments. And when you do choose to speak, make sure your words leave an impact, not just an echo. Attraction is not something that can be forced or demanded. It does not arise from trying too hard, from chasing, from seeking constant validation. It is not something that can be won through excessive compliments or grand gestures. True desire is cultivated not through words alone, but through presence, through action, through the way a man carries himself in the world. Many men believe that if they just say the right thing, if they find the perfect words, they can make a woman desire them. They think that flattery, persistence, or constant attention will create attraction. But this approach reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of human nature. The moment a man tries to convince a woman to want him, he has already placed himself in a position of weakness. He has signaled that he is the one chasing, the one seeking approval, the one who is willing to work for her attention rather than naturally commanding it. A man who understands his own value does not try to make himself desirable. He simply is. He does not beg for attention or validation. He does not feel the need to constantly impress. Instead, he focuses on his own path, his own purpose, his own self-mastery. And in doing so, he naturally cultivates an aura of attraction. He becomes the kind of man who draws others in without needing to push for it. There is a difference between seeking attention and commanding it. The man who seeks attention is always giving compliments, giving effort, giving himself away in the hope that it will be returned. But the man who commands attention does so effortlessly. He does not need to chase because his presence alone is enough. He does not need to convince a woman to like him because he embodies qualities that make him desirable on their own. One of the greatest mistakes a man can make is to act as though he needs a woman's attraction in order to validate his own worth. When he does this, he places her in a position of power. He becomes dependent on her response, on her approval, on whether she chooses to reciprocate. But a man who truly understands his own value does not give away that power so easily. He does not ask to be chosen. He lets his actions, his mindset, and his presence make the decision for her. Attraction is built not through words, but through contrast. A man who is steady, who does not waver, who is in full control of himself, stands out in a world full of uncertainty and distraction. He does not need to be the loudest voice in the room, nor does he need to perform for attention. His strength is evident in the way he moves, the way he speaks, the way he carries himself with quiet confidence. This is why men who do not chase are often the ones who are pursued. It is not because they are playing games or following some calculated strategy. It is because they are genuinely unattached to the outcome. They do not operate from a place of scarcity, as if they must prove themselves worthy of attention. They know that they are already enough, and because of that, they do not feel the need to convince anyone else of it. Women, like all people, are drawn to what is valuable. They are drawn to strength, to certainty, to men who move with purpose rather than desperation. They do not want to feel as though they are being placed on a pedestal simply for existing. They want to be around men who are already fulfilled, already on their own path, already engaged in something greater than the pursuit of attention. A man who understands this does not waste time trying to win desire. He does not flood a woman with compliments, thinking it will make her want him. He does not try to persuade or convince. Instead, he cultivates himself. He builds his own value so that attraction becomes a natural byproduct of who he is. He does not chase it because he does not need to. And in the end, this is the greatest irony. Those who try the hardest to be desired often repel the very thing they seek, while those who are content within themselves naturally become the ones who are wanted the most. A man who is secure in himself does not need to prove anything. He does not attempt to impress through excessive compliments, nor does he seek approval through flattery. He knows that attraction is not something to be begged for or won with words. It is something that arises naturally from the way he carries himself. When a man truly embodies strength, he does not chase, he does not plead, and he does not act as though he is waiting for permission to be desired. Instead, he moves with certainty, with presence, with quiet confidence that speaks louder than any compliment ever could. Many men misunderstand what it means to be attractive. They believe that if they just say the right things, if they show enough admiration, if they make their intentions clear, they will be rewarded with the attention they seek. But this approach is rooted in desperation. It places all the power in the hands of another, signaling that he is waiting for someone else to decide his worth. This is not strength. This is neediness in disguise. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who seems as though he needs to be liked. A strong man is one who does not give his value away so easily. He does not seek validation through words, nor does he attempt to buy favor with compliments. He understands that attraction is built on a foundation of respect, and respect is never given to those who seem desperate to earn it. True strength is magnetic because it is rare. It is not about arrogance, nor is it about dismissing others. It is about knowing that your worth is not determined by how someone else responds to you. This is the difference between a man who leads and a man who follows. The man who follows waits for cues from others, adjusting his behavior in the hope of receiving approval. He watches for reactions, tailoring his words to match what he thinks will be most liked. But the man who leads does not do this. He speaks with conviction because he believes in what he says, not because he is hoping for a favorable response. He does not ask for permission to be confident. He does not look for reassurance before he acts. He simply moves forward, certain of his own path, and this certainty is what makes him so compelling. Attraction is not about proving yourself. It is not about saying the right things or trying to convince someone to want you. It is about embodying qualities that naturally draw others in. When a man is disciplined, when he has purpose, when he holds himself with quiet confidence, he does not need to chase. He becomes the kind of person others want to be around, not because he is constantly seeking attention, but because he is completely comfortable with or without it. This is why men who do not try too hard are often the ones who are most desired. It is not because they are playing a game or following some calculated strategy. It is because they do not place their sense of worth in the hands of another. They do not act as though they need to be chosen. They know that they already have value, and because they know this, they do not feel the need to prove it to anyone, and this is what makes them powerful. Consider the way people respond to strength. When someone is unshaken by the opinions of others, when they remain composed in the face of uncertainty, they command attention without trying. They do not demand respect. It is given to them naturally because they have earned it through their presence alone. This is the energy that a man must cultivate, the energy of someone who does not flinch, who does not break, who does not feel the need to seek approval because he already knows what he is worth. Many men sabotage their own attraction by overcompensating. They believe that by being overly nice, overly available, or overly complimentary, they will be seen as worthy, but this only serves to highlight their own insecurity. When a man is truly secure, he does not feel the need to convince anyone of his value. He lets his presence speak for itself. He does not try to force attraction, because he knows that real attraction cannot be forced. Strength is not about being aggressive or dominant. It is about being in control of yourself. It is about knowing that your emotions do not need to be dictated by how others respond to you. It is about remaining composed even when things do not go your way. This is the kind of energy that is impossible to ignore. It is the kind of energy that naturally commands respect. A man who embodies strength does not need to say, "You're pretty," in the hope that it will make him more attractive. He does not feel the need to rely on words to create desire. Instead, he lets his actions do the talking. He moves through the world with quiet confidence, not because he wants to impress, but because he knows who he is. And in the end, this is the kind of man that others are drawn to, not because he asks to be noticed, but because he makes it impossible to look away. A man who values himself does not seek external validation, nor does he change his demeanor based on how others perceive him. His confidence is not dependent on approval, nor does it waver in the face of rejection. This is because his self-worth is built on something deeper: his discipline, his purpose, his ability to remain unmoved by things beyond his control. A man like this does not chase admiration. He does not attempt to earn attention through words or gestures. He simply is, and that is enough. The moment a man begins to seek validation, he places his power in someone else's hands. If his confidence is tied to how others react to him, he is no longer in control of it. If he is praised, he feels good. If he is ignored, he feels uncertain. This is weakness. A man who operates this way is easily swayed, constantly adjusting himself in the hope of being accepted. And nothing is less attractive than a man who appears desperate to be liked. True confidence does not ask for permission. It does not rely on constant reassurance. It does not waver based on whether or not someone else finds you desirable. A man who truly understands his worth carries himself with quiet certainty. He does not need to explain it, prove it, or seek confirmation of it. He simply knows. And because he knows, others sense it too. This is the difference between those who are naturally desirable and those who are constantly trying to be. The ones who try too hard, who seek attention, who chase approval, who use words as a way to gain favor, are the ones who are often overlooked. Meanwhile, the man who does not concern himself with being desired is often the one who is. This is not because he is playing a game or following some formula. It is because his confidence is real. It is not based on external factors. It does not rise and fall depending on whether or not he is noticed. It is constant, unshakable. When a man operates from this place of certainty, everything about him changes. The way he speaks, the way he moves, the way he engages with others, all of it carries a different weight. He does not fidget, he does not over-explain, he does not try to impress through excessive words or gestures. He is present, but never needy. He engages, but never chases. And this level of control over his emotions, over his reactions, over his need for validation, is what makes him truly attractive. People, by nature, are drawn to those who are solid, those who are grounded, those who do not waver. When a man demonstrates that he is unshaken, that he does not depend on the opinions of others for his own sense of self, he becomes someone others want to be around, not because he is trying to be, but because this level of self-assurance is rare. Many men make the mistake of thinking that confidence is something that can be performed. They assume that by acting a certain way, by saying the right things, by following a set of behaviors, they can create attraction. But real confidence is not an act. It is not about pretending to be something you are not. It is about actually being that person, someone who does not need external validation, someone who does not seek approval, someone who is perfectly content whether or not others recognize his value. This is why the most attractive men are often the ones who seem the least concerned with impressing anyone. They are not dismissive, nor are they arrogant. They are simply sure of themselves, and they do not require constant reassurance to maintain that sense of certainty. They do not give compliments in the hope of receiving something in return. They do not wait for approval before taking action. They move forward, always, regardless of whether or not they are acknowledged for it. And in the end, this is the ultimate paradox. Those who need validation the most rarely get it, while those who do not seek it naturally command it. A man who understands this does not waste his time trying to be liked. He does not attempt to make himself desirable through words or empty gestures. He simply exists in a way that makes it impossible to ignore him, not because he asks to be noticed, but because his presence alone demands it.